back, guys, to one of the most requested content styles on this channel, Trends in the Wild. This is the series where I personally go into actual stores and find trends before they ever hit Etsy. And I share them with you guys so that you can potentially put things up on your shops before your competitors even know these trends exist. And after we find the trends together, we also spend a little bit of time going into Everbee and going into Pinterest and Amazon to validate whether these trends are actually on the rise. Unfortunately, I had to bundle up a lot because I live in Lansing, Michigan. It is the middle of December and it looks like this outside. But because we're in the middle of December, that means that we are looking forward into trends for Q1. So we're looking for things for winter, for Valentine's Day, and maybe if we're lucky, even spring. Although my spring is definitely going to start in like May or June. For people who do not live in the tundra, your spring might start in around March or April. So we're hoping that we can see some spring things together today too. The very first store I'm going into, as always, is Target. First up, it seems like winter 2026 is going to be the year of the fur. I saw fur in multiple different sections and in all different colors. Next up, it also seems like we might be able to bring some animal prints into the new year with us as well. Now here's a trend that I've actually been noticing for the past couple of weeks while I've been going into these stores, unrelated to making this series. The concept of like Aspen, Colorado, and ski lodges. This was in almost every section that I went in Target, and like I said, I've seen these for the past few weeks and I see them going into the new year. Next up is just something that I started to take notice of while I was going through the store. I'm seeing a lot of sage green, a lot of neutral tan and brown tones, and a lot of white or kind of like cream across every section of the store. And to me, this could possibly mean that we are bringing more neutral tones and a minimalistic vibe into 2026. And I know it's a little late for this, but even their Christmas decor matched the same vibe. Next up, to be quite honest, I have absolutely no idea what the name of this pattern is, but it's like that thing that just reminds you of Christmas or reminds you of winter. Well, I saw this in every single section in Target, even so much as to put their own Target mascot on the same type of pattern. The next one, which I'm not so happy about myself because I don't think anyone should ever dress like a tree, is camo. There were multiple different types of camo patterns across every section of Target, including even a Stranger Things promotion center. So if you're into this space, might be something to think about for next year. And last up, no matter where I went, it seemed like there were bows everywhere, so keeping in mind this might be something that goes into the new year, no matter the month. Now moving on to our second store was Michael's, and the very first thing that I saw was actually this like Italian style of wall art and kitchen decor. Now in our last Trends in the Wild part 3, I believe back in August or September, we talked about the brunch craze in wall art and kitchen decor, and this one seems to be going more in the direction of cheese. Now again, it's way too late obviously to be doing Christmas stuff, but I did notice that there were also a lot of fur bows for Christmas and these really fun patterns again with more bows, spotlighting different colors that I think could do really well in at least Q1 of 2026, if not carry out through the whole year. So we're seeing light pinks, greens, reds, magentas, and felt is carrying over from Q3, but we're looking a little bit more at poodles this season. I also did want to take notice that at the very first section, when you turn into the right in the home decor space, there were a lot of neutral tones for pillows again. This is something new that I haven't seen before, this like opalescent type of style, very whimsical, very fairy-like, that I can tell is not just going to be for the holiday season, but will go all the way through the new year. Moving on to our next store, we have a Hobby Lobby. Unfortunately, neither Michael's nor Target had anything outside of winter really related to spring, but thankfully our friends at Hobby Lobby are preparing for spring, and we were able to find a lot of different designs that you guys could potentially get inspiration from for the upcoming spring season, including, yes, you guessed it, the Highland cows. There were also dozens of what seemed to be hand-painted / watercolor items for different flower bouquets. This section right here was definitely my favorite. It's almost like a graffiti approach to wall art, and I think this is going to be huge next year. I also noticed a lot of sage patterns, just like I did in Target in Hobby Lobby, but it was combined with a light pink color, a light yellow color, and wood undertones. Here's some more examples of those watercolor type of designs for bouquets. And yet again, just like in Target, we're basically seeing so many different ways to utilize bows in each and every single space that they had in Hobby Lobby. I also really enjoyed this little section right here. It's not really a niche per se, but it's just kind of like that girly space. So I wanted to show you guys a couple of quick examples of what they're doing in this store. Also, you guys are more than likely aware that birth flowers have been super big on Etsy for over 2 years now, and it looks like Hobby Lobby is starting to turn them into decor now. I also noticed lots of this trend where there is a clean white background, a painting or flowers, and then text on top. And last but not least, getting into the season of spring, we are seeing some cherries, some strawberries. We're keeping up with a little bit of mushrooms from Q3 and Q4. And then we're moving also into the bumblebee space for next year. It looks like super early. And last but not least, it looks like Lemon is making her comeback yet again. All right, we are going to go ahead and start our research in Pinterest, Amazon, and Etsy, looking up winter fashion first. And obviously I want to type in 2026 so I can get a good idea of what's to come. And I was seeing a lot of the same stuff we were seeing in the stores. Some neutrals, some fur, some lighter creams and beiges and browns. And I even saw a few of the kind of sage green at the top as well. So now I want to look into the kind of ski lodge concept we saw in Target. I didn't really see that at all in Michael's and Hobby Lobby, but I'm definitely seeing a lot of it on Amazon. And then I further found out by my search in Amazon that the thing that's actually doing super well this winter is actually Apres, like Apres. Is actually what's doing well. So Apres ski, I believe. It might be Apres ski. Please don't come after me in the comments. We've got a lot more things as it relates to the searches themselves. And now we're starting to see even more products related to the space. So we've got long sleeves, we've got candles, we've obviously got the puzzles we saw before, even some like party decor. And it was interesting, the social club and the bachelorette aspect being a thing around the Apres ski space. I would have never guessed, but that might be something to think about as we get closer and closer to pre-wedding season. And there's the exact jacket that we saw in Target today. I'm really liking these combinations for designs. And I actually found like a shop space that is multiple different stores unrelated to the ones we saw today that are hosting this kind of design. So a Apres ski might be something to think about for the winter. So now I actually found out in my research, I told you guys I had no freaking idea what that sweater pattern was called, and it looks like it's called Fair Isle. So Fair I-S-L-E. So when you type Fair Isle into Pinterest, into Amazon, or into Etsy, we can see that there are so many different patterns that are being used across multiple different spaces as well. So we've got some socks, some hats, some sweaters, obviously, and then there's literally every color you could imagine. So something that might be really beneficial here is to really think about the neutral tones, the sages, maybe even the light blues for winter 2026, and then applying that potentially to a Fair Isle concept. Now, when I was on Etsy, the Fair Isle things that I was looking at that seemed to make the most amount of money over the last 6 months were actually going to be like socks, mittens, stockings. Those are the things that I'm seeing popping off on Etsy in the Fair Isle space, but it seems like just in general, this is something that is doing super well right now and has had really good growth rate over the past 3 to 6 months. So I see that maybe transitioning into 2026 as well, especially with people who live in cold places that last much longer than February like me. The next thing I wanted to look up was kind of understanding the camo space. Even though this is not something that I would ever wear personally, I'm seeing big brands like Comfort, who we all love here. Hopefully, this is one of my favorite brands. I'm seeing Comfort do some camo stuff. I'm seeing people bring out some camo Christmas stuff. I'm seeing things that have to do with people graduating from college or graduating from high school when we go on Amazon and when we go on Etsy in the camo space. I also saw a little bit of the first time dad, first time pawpaw, and first time brother concept. So if a new baby is being born, I'm seeing a little bit of those in the space of camo as well. And then on Etsy, we did see a little bit of Christmas items, obviously, but it's also a lot of like Ping digital downloads are doing well in the camo space as it relates to someone's name, or embroidery is also doing well in this space too. Next up, I wanted to look at bows. I don't think this is even necessary because bows have really followed us all the way since like August of 2024, but I decided to go ahead and bring it up just to see what bows are doing right now on Etsy. And obviously, like we saw in the early parts of this video, it seems like bows are sticking around, and it seems like they can pretty much be applied to any type of niche, any type of season, any type of celebration, as long as a female is buying it or someone is buying it for a female. Next up, I wanted to get into the Italian aesthetic, which is really what we found at Michael's, trying to get into like the Italian home decor space. And I also noticed that this actually is kind of a little bit of a cross-stitching concept, because you're actually going to have a little bit of that thing that we saw in Hobby Lobby with the painting and the white background and the one piece of bold text on top, along with the Italian cuisine concept. And I was also noticing that a little bit of cross-stitching is happening with the Italian cuisine decor, Italian style decor, and lemons, which is what we also saw in Hobby Lobby. So it seems like this is definitely something to think about for next year. It seems like it can be on crew necks, on t-shirts, on bathing suits, and then obviously on home decor or wall art as well. So the last thing I wanted to look at was the iridescent or opalescent space. So this was something obviously that we saw at the end of our trip to Michael's, and I was wondering if this is showing up on Etsy at all yet, or if this is potentially something that might show up later on. And I was seeing a couple things already had that opalescent iridescent kind of vibe to it, but I wasn't really seeing too much on Etsy quite yet. But that could mean that as long as you're seeing it in department stores, or as long as you're seeing it on places like Pinterest or Amazon, that there is a market for it, and that this is something that is going to pop off very soon. So here's a quick example of some of the vibes that I was seeing by typing that in, paired with 2026. And I also decided to actually go into Canva and see if there were any ways that we can kind of add this iridescent space to our designs. And they have so many different graphics and so many different photos that you can pull over and put into frames and then add to your designs for 2026. So overall, guys, what I would recommend you guys doing is typing in, no matter what the season is, no matter what the year is, no matter what quarter we're in, at any given time, you can do exactly what I'm doing right here on your desktop or even on your mobile app with Pinterest or Amazon. Simply type in 2026 blank. So 2026 spring fashion, 2026 summer trends. Type those things in at least 90 days beforehand, and you should be able to replicate exactly what I'm doing now. And of course, you can always go into your own department stores near you as well and replicate the exact same concept that I did. If you start to see the exact same patterns or the exact same aesthetic in more than one store, you can more than likely guarantee that it is going to hit Etsy within the next 30 to 60 days. I also recommend checking out this video next, where I'm going to be going over 6 different 6-figure niches that I expect will continue into 2026. I'll see you guys over there next.